up, warrior babes? Welcome back to my video. If you are new here, my name is Brianna Batani and I am a sickle cell warrior. I make videos on my life with sickle cell disease, so if you are new, please hit that subscribe button and join the family. So as you can see from the title, today's video is going to be a little bit serious than the other ones. Yeah, I pretty much almost died a few weeks ago. So I went to Orlando, Florida. I did vlog that trip, but I did not put the footage out yet. I haven't even looked at the footage, to be honest, but I have not put that footage out yet because I ended up getting really sick after Orlando, Florida. And I stayed home from the trip, so I got back from it on a Monday, and I stayed home for a few days. So it was a Thursday morning, and I woke up and I felt so terrible. Like, my head was pounding. When I woke up to go to the bathroom, I felt so oozy and my head was heavy. My heart was out of my chest. I felt hot, not like hot, like my body felt hot, let me say. I was not okay. But I was really tired, so I was just laying in the bed debating on if I should go to the emergency room, only because I had just gotten out the emergency room the week before. So I was literally in my bed just laying down. I had woke up at 8 o'clock, and by 11 o'clock I was like, I can't take this no more. Like, I just don't feel well. Like, I just feel terrible. So it's gonna be hard for me to go through this story, guys, because I haven't really talked about it since I've been through it. So bear with me. just bear with me. So I couldn't take it anymore, and I decided to call the ambulance. So they came, and they were just asking me a whole bunch of questions, you know, what type of medicines do you take, what's going on, this, that, and the third. When they took my temperature was 104 point something, and that is extremely high. Now, I had a thermometer here. I didn't take it, partially because I didn't want to know, but it was 104, guys, and that is really high. I knew that I was running a fever. Now, please, guys, as I'm telling you this story, please don't do what I did and wait, because when I got back from Orlando that Monday, I should have went to the hospital. I should have, but I didn't. And because I didn't, what I had, and I'm gonna tell you what I had, ended up getting worse. And I brought it on. A lot of what I had on myself, a lot of it could have probably maybe been prevented. One of the things couldn't have been prevented. Well, two. I'm not sure, but maybe it getting as bad as it did could have been prevented. So when they, wheeled me out or whatever, my roommate ended up seeing me and was like, so, like, what is going on? Like, I left the house for a minute. I thought you were okay. And she ended up calling my grandmother for me to inform her as to what's going on. So they bring me in an ambulance or whatever, and they take my blood sugar, and they try to start an IV, but because I have sickle cell, like, my veins are pretty much shot, which is why I have a port. And yeah, so they take me to the hospital, and automatically, because of all my vitals and stuff, they put me on a sepsis protocol. Now, for those of you who don't know what sepsis is a bacterial blood infection that is pretty much life-threatening. It's pretty bad, and they knew that I pretty much had that because my temperature was pretty much really high and my heart rate was 145, and your heart rate should not be 145, guys. I knew my heart rate was already fast because of when I woke up that morning, my heart was out of my chest, literally. Like, you could see, like, this thing right here was, like, really beating, and my heart was just going. So, yeah, my heart rate was 145. So those are the two things that qualified me for sepsis protocol. So pretty much sepsis protocol means that you automatically get a dose of hefty antibiotics. And I mean these antibiotics are hefty. Like, my stomach was toe up from the flow up when I got it, okay? I had to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't because I was so weak. So they had to put a bedpan. This is TMI, but they had to put a bedpan on me because the antibiotics messed up my stomach that bad. So the nurse, he comes in and he tells me that I am on sepsis protocol and I'm about to pretty much get antibiotics, and that they need to draw blood cultures, and they need to do a whole bunch of labs. So they do all those labs and stuff, and since we are in a pandemic, I was tested for COVID. And I saw the doctor. She came in and she asked me if I had any COVID symptoms. I did not have any COVID symptoms. She asked me, what was going on. I told her about the Florida trip. I told her how I wasn't feeling well. I told her how I had the shakes, which are the chills. I told her how my head was hurting. I told her how I just wasn't feeling well. I just told her how I felt like crap, pretty much. And she told me, she's gonna and I told her how I was in pain, and she told me that she was gonna order some pain medicine and like get stuff in the works. So pretty much that's what was going on for the next few hours of stuff. I got antibiotics, I got fluids. I got a lot of fluids because I was extremely dehydrated. I got my pain medicine, and I got tested for COVID. And in the midst of that, I was like in a trance. I don't know exactly how to explain what that means, but like I was so sick to the point where I was there, but I wasn't there mentally. Like I knew that I was in a hospital. Like, I knew that I was like sick and I wasn't feeling well, but my mind mentally just wasn't there. My family was calling me multiple times. I just couldn't answer the phone. I couldn't even talk to them. Like, I had like maybe 20-30 missed calls at that day because they were just trying to get in contact with me, and I was too weak to, one, answer the phone, and two, I wasn't there mentally. Like, I just didn't know where I was. My primary care doctor, nurse practitioner, she came, and the first thing I hear is this love. She has such a soft, like, graceful voice. The first thing I hear is, "You're so sick, baby." And I was like, yeah, I know. And I don't know if she just knew that she could not really talk to me in that moment, but she called my mom. And at this point, I think my blood work had came back, and my hemoglobin, for those sicklers that out there that know these numbers, my hemoglobin, guys, was 3.4. And that's the lowest my hemoglobin has been in my life. Like, a lot of things looking back make sense as to why I was feeling the way I was feeling. My hemoglobin was 3.4, and I needed blood, obviously. So for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who just don't know anything about medical stuff, your hemoglobin is pretty much what carries oxygen through your body, and it's pretty much calculates how much blood volume I think you have in your body. Lord, these doctors are gonna fry me in the comments, but I'm sorry, I don't really exactly know how to explain it, but I do know that that's kind of around what it was. But for the average person, like, for females, your hemoglobin is supposed to be from anywhere from like 12 to like maybe 14, and for males it's supposed to be from like anywhere from like 13 to like 15. So yeah, I pretty much had like no blood. Like, my heart was pumping hard and fast, one, because I had an infection, but two, because my hemoglobin was extremely dangerously low. So the nurse came in. I had a really good nurse. He worked his butt off from the time that I got to the hospital to the time that it was time for him to go home. He really worked he worked hard. I gotta write him a note and thank him because he really helped me. But anyways, so this is like later on in the evening. So I got to the emergency room around like 12 in the afternoon, and she came to see me like late that evening. So I want to say around 4 or 5, and she called my mom, and my mom had already knew that I was in the hospital because my roommate called my grandmother earlier in the day when she found out, like when she saw that I was leaving in an ambulance, and my grandma had told her. So my mom already kind of knew what was going on, but she didn't know to the extent. So she had told, so the nurse practitioner had told my mom what was going on, and she told her how sick I was and how my white blood count, I don't remember the number exactly, but it was high, and how I had a bad sepsis infection, a blood infection, and how I needed to be in the ICU. So at this point, it's like a few hours later, they transfer me to the ICU upstairs, and now this nurse at the ICU, I did not care for her, but we're not going to talk about her. A few hours later, when they transferred me up there, that night, I tested positive for COVID. And the nurse came in and he said, honey, you're positive for COVID. And in that moment, I didn't know how to think. Like, I didn't. I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I think that's exactly what I said to him. Guys, I know I'm laughing. I'm just trying to make light of the situation because if I don't, I will cry. And that's just the honest truth. If I don't make light of the situation, I will cry. So yeah, and I literally just said, oh, okay, and I went back to sleep. So knowing that I tested positive, I was just like, oh, okay, went back to sleep, and just like, well, I mean, what can you do at that point? So I was just like, okay. And then I didn't really have any symptoms. I wasn't coughing. I didn't have any COVID symptoms. So I just thought I was okay at that point in time. And since I had tested positive for COVID in my city, in Greensboro, we have a COVID hospital. So I couldn't stay in the hospital that I was in because they don't have any COVID patients, and they couldn't run the risk of me passing it on. So they had to transfer me to the COVID hospital, to the COVID ICU hospital. So when I was, my body had been so exhausted from everything that it was going through in that day, like just running so many tests. I had chest x-rays, I had CAT scans, I had I didn't even tell you all that, but I had CAT scans and all that stuff. So I was just exhausted, and I was like, now I gotta go to another hospital. So before I had, let me back up a little bit. Before they had transferred me to that hospital, my blood sugar was acting up, and I guess this is just from the sepsis. My blood sugar and my blood pressure. So my blood pressure had tanked before I had gotten to the hospital. My blood pressure was holding steady, but I don't know, something just happened, and my blood pressure just I don't know, it just went out of whack, and my blood pressure, I think, got as low as 50, in the 50s at one point in time. And that's also one of the side effects of sepsis, is your blood pressure being so low. Now, because my blood pressure was so low, they did not want to give me any pain medicines. And I was literally fighting with them, please, Lord, give me some pain medicine, because I was really hurting. All of this stuff, like all the sepsis and the COVID, was making, putting me into a crisis, because that's just what happens when you have sickle cell, when you have added on stress on your body. So my body was fighting a bacterial infection and COVID at the same time. It'll put you into a crisis. So I was really hurting at that point in time, and the doctors at the time did not want to give me any pain medicine. But little did I know, the nurse wasn't fighting for me to have any pain medicine, because when I went to the COVID hospital, I got pain medicine literally almost right away. So we're not going to talk about that. That's why I didn't like the nurse, guys. And I have a legit reason, because she didn't fight for me. And if you're a nurse out there watching this, please fight for your sickle cell patients. We need you guys, especially when we're incapable of fighting for ourselves. And at that point in time, I was not able to fight for myself, because I was literally not there mentally. Like, I just was not there mentally, because I was so sick. I was just, my body literally had shut down, and I just couldn't fight for myself. My mom didn't even know what was going on at the time. Well, I think she did know what was going on at the time, but she couldn't really do much because she was in New York. She's a frontline worker. She still is a frontline worker. And she couldn't do much besides call and, try to get the doctors to give me some pain medicine. But it really took, me going to the COVID hospital and getting the right nurse to fight for me and said, this is not going to happen on my watch. And that's how I got pain medicine. So yeah, my blood sugar had tanked really, really, really bad. They had to give me insulin. I didn't even know this until like after I got out the hospital. They had to give me insulin in my IV. I didn't even know what they were doing to me, guys. I was on so much medication. I didn't even know what I was on at the time. All I know is that I was sick. I had sepsis, I had COVID, and then I was in the ICU. Those are the three things that I was aware of at that point in time when I was at the hospital. That's all I knew, and that was it. I didn't know what medicines, I didn't know what my blood, I didn't know anything else besides I had sepsis, I had COVID, and then I was in the hospital. That was it. So yeah, my blood sugar was all out of whack. They had to take my blood sugar like literally every hour just to make sure that it was okay. And guys, I don't have diabetes. I don't have like any type of diabetes. Like my blood sugar is pretty much good, and I don't like suffer from any diabetes. So I was scared. Later on, I found out that sometimes sepsis can affect your blood sugar, or just when you have infections that are bad, like the ones that I had, that it'll affect your blood sugar. So I got to the let me fast forward a little bit. So the ambulance came, they got me, and I went to the COVID hospital. So when I got to the COVID hospital, I had like 10 nurses around me. They were all just like trying to get my medicine together, asked me a whole bunch of questions. They pricked my finger again. It was just a lot going on. And my nurse, I have to, she's another one that I have to write a letter to, because she is just amazing. She was like, honey, I know that you've been needing pain medicine, and I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to tell you that I'm going to get it for you, and we're going to be okay. And I told her, I knew that one of the reasons that they didn't give me pain medicine was for my blood pressure. And I was like, well, what about my blood pressure? And she was like, well, we're not going to worry about that. So I was like, but like, I don't want like anything to be wrong with my blood pressure. She said, there's a medicine that we can give you that we can help bring your blood pressure up, and we can give you your pain medicine. I said, you know what? Look at God. Look at God just bringing me to you in the time that I need you the most. Because I was suffering, guys. I hadn't gotten any pain medicine since I had left the emergency room. And I had left the emergency room at, I want to say, 6 o'clock. I didn't get to the COVID hospital until 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's how long I went without pain medicine. I went a very long time without pain medicine. And I was suffering for a long time. So I was just like thinking, like, thank God, and then they like literally within the hour, I had the PCA pump, and I was just like pressing. It was hard for me to press because I was so tired that it was like, it took a while for me to just remember to press. Like I had to make a mental note, like somewhere in my subconscious, conscious, I don't know which one, but one of those, like, come on, like in my Well, mine, I had to make a conscious note because I needed some pain medicine. Like, I just needed to get better. So the next day, the doctors had came in and they had told me, you know, Brian, you're very sick. Like you're sick. And they took a chest x-ray and I had pneumonia also, which is something that you typically get. For those of you who don't know, pneumonia is something that you typically get when you have COVID, especially if you are a, like, what do they call people at risk? I guess if you're at risk, it's typically at risk patients get pneumonia, and asthma patients get pneumonia. So yeah, I had pneumonia, but they think that I also got pneumonia because it didn't show up on my first x-ray because I was so dehydrated and because I had so much fluids. Something medical, and voila, pneumonia. You couldn't see it because I was dehydrated. Now I'm hydrated, you can see it. I don't know, doctors know, but that's what happened. And then the doctors just was like, now, so this is, so I was, okay, let me go back. So I was in the hospital, so I came into the hospital on Thursday, and technically Friday I went to the Cova. So this is Friday. I started to feel better a little bit, tiny bit, and I ended up, what did I do? So I started to feel better, and I ended up just kind of sitting up a little bit. Like, I sat up a little bit for like an hour, and then I went back to sleep. Like, Friday I was asleep all day. I do remember that. And I was still getting blood pressure medication because my blood pressure was still pretty low, and I was still getting antibiotics. I was getting vancomycin IV, and I was getting Cipro, I think. So yeah, I was getting those 2 antibiotics, still tearing my stomach up, still haven't been eating. And I did notice I started to have some COVID symptoms. That night, I started coughing really bad. Any type of movement, I would cough. I would turn over in bed, I would cough. And it wouldn't even be like it would be like, I mean, I'm coughing like, like I'm going in coughing. I can't stop. I need my asthma pump. That's making it worse. Like, I'll be coughing for a good 5 to 10 minutes, no joke. So that would make me not want to move. And you can't move because you need to move. So I started showing symptoms that night. So Saturday comes. I'm still tired, but I try to get up a little bit. And I try to eat something. The nurse forces me to eat something. They're like, you need to eat. I try to eat. I can't really eat. My taste buds are gone. Another symptom. Well, my taste buds have been gone since Wednesday before, but I didn't know that was one of the symptoms. So, but I wasn't really eating anyway because I just wasn't feeling well. So my taste buds are gone and I'm just not feeling it. So I'm just like, okay, I'm so tired. I'm feeling a little bit better. Oh yeah, through this I did get 2 units of blood. I got 2 units of blood in the hospital before the COVID hospital. So in the regular hospital, I got 2 units of blood. And then I forgot, there's so much, guys. I'm sorry if I have to go back. I went through a lot. So yeah, I got 2 units of blood in the hospital before the COVID hospital. And since my hemoglobin was 3.4, 2 units of blood are only going to bring your hemoglobin up about 2 points because it's like a unit per bag of blood. So because I was at 3, 2 would only bring me up to 5. So I had to get 2 more units of blood. So I got a total of 4 units of blood. So I got the next 2 units of blood today, Saturday. They wanted to make sure that my hemoglobin was dropping again before they just gave me 2 units of blood, 2 more units of blood. only because I do have antibodies, and it does take some time for, you know, them to find my blood. And plus the 2 units of blood, the first 2 units of blood that I had came from Charlotte, and I live in Greensboro, and Charlotte's an hour and a half away. So that was their hesitation. But I did end up getting 2 units of blood that Saturday, and I sat up and I ate, and I felt a little bit better, but I was just coughing a tad bit. So yeah, then the next day, Sunday, I felt way better. Like, you can tell me nothing better, okay? I ended up sitting up in a chair. I talked to the doctor the night before. In the middle of the night, a COVID patient behind me in the unit ended up passing away, and I was like, oh no, I gotta get off this unit. And it was just really, really detrimental to me, because I've never experienced death. I mean, I have experienced death. My grandfather had passed away, and my great aunt passed away, but it's just different when it's you hear the line actually beep, and you hear the family on the phone crying. That actually really messed me up, still to this day. And that was 3 weeks ago, so I'm still kind of dealing with that, and it was hard. But back to Sunday, I was better, and it was up from there. It was actually a point in time where, guys, I was so sick. Thursday, it was sometime Thursday or Friday, where I was so sick, and I was just praying, and I was just praying, and I was just praying, and I was just saying, God, please spare me. Please spare me, because I know that I have a purpose. I know that my life serves a purpose, and I know that you want me to do something with it. Oh, guys, I did not want to cry. And I know that you want me to do something with it, but I can't do that if I'm with you, God. I can't do that if I'm with you. So please help me get better. Please help me get better. It was somewhere in my trance where I was still well enough that I knew that I needed to pray. I knew that I needed to pray, because that was the only thing that was going to get me out of this, guys. I was really sick. On Saturday, I didn't even tell you guys, on Saturday my white blood count was 89. Your white blood count shouldn't be higher than 12, if that. My white blood count was 89. My body was literally fighting coronavirus and sepsis, along with sickle cell, but sickle cell wasn't the issue. My sickle cell just got triggered, and I luckily just had a crisis. I didn't have anything else, though. But Sunday, I ended up feeling so much better, and all I could do was just thank God. I sat up in a chair. I watched my computer, watched YouTube in the ICU unit. I was so thankful. I was so thankful. That Monday, I went into, the progressive unit, which is a step down from the ICU unit, and I was better. I was still running a fever, but that was it. That Monday and Tuesday, I was just running a fever, and it wasn't even that high. It was just 101. Not compared to what I was. I was at 104 and 105, guys. I was still running a fever those 2 days. But other than that, I was okay. All I needed Tylenol. I didn't need all those drugs that they were pumping into me, guys. I was full of so much drugs that my body started to swell up. I don't know if it was just from COVID or it was from the drugs. I think it was probably from both. But I was full of so much drugs that first they literally pumped me with so much drugs when I from the time that I've got to the hospital, from the time that I left the ICU unit, I was pumped with so many drugs. I was pumped with IV antibiotics. I was pumped with blood pressure medication. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a blood pressure medication. Doctors that are watching this will know that that helps your blood pressure go up. Oh, excuse me. Oh, it got caught in my throat when it's low, and that's what they were pumping me with, and I was on such a high dose of it that they had to literally wean me off of it in the ICU. So I was on that. Then I was on pain medicine, and I was on fluids. And at one point in time, they gave me insulin for my blood sugar because it was so low. I was just on so many drugs that I even told my mom, I was like, I was feeling okay at one point in time, but I was like, they pumped me with so much drugs, like I feel like I need to, and then took it away so fast that I felt like I need to, I don't know, recoup from just all that. So yeah, that Monday and Tuesday I was okay. I just had fevers, and then that Wednesday I was better. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing, hunty, okay? Like, I was better. My voice was stronger. I was stronger. I was able to stand up. I was able to walk from my bed to the sink, which was only about, like, maybe 6 or 7 feet. But, hey, it was more than I was walking those past few days. Then that Thursday, I was ready to go home. I didn't go home that day. My primary caregiver, because I was so sick, he didn't know that I had gotten better as fast as I did. Only through the grace of God that I get better as fast as I did. He didn't know I was as well as I was, and he just wanted me to stay over a night, and then I went home that Friday. So that was a total of 8 days in the hospital for coronavirus and for sepsis. The doctors blame a lot of on me getting better because of my age. I am 24 years old. So that is one of the reasons why I ended up getting this better as fast as I did. But I just blame it all on God. Like, if it wasn't for him, you know, I don't know where I would be, type thing. Like, I still suffer from some PTSD because of the situation. Getting cold was one of my indications that I was about to have a really high fever, and I would shake, and like I would have the chills for hours. And so I'm still trying to get over that. I'm still trying to get over the death that I heard in ICU. The whole ordeal in itself was just a lot for me to go through. It's a lot for anybody to go through, but it was a lot for me to go through. Guys, it was only through the grace of God that I am here today, to tell the story of how I pretty much survived coronavirus and sepsis. But I don't really even, blame a lot of what I went through on the COVID. I think it was a lot of the sepsis and then the COVID, my body trying to fight both of them. It was hard work for my body. It was a lot of hard work for my body to fight both of those two things. And I don't know where I got the COVID from. I honestly don't know. But guys, please wear your mask. Please wear your mask. This thing is a killer. It is a silent killer. It is a deadly killer. And it is not good for your body. it was hard. It was hard, you know, just not even with the sepsis, just, you know, some of the COVID symptoms that I did have. It was hard to break that cough, and luckily I didn't need oxygen just to wear, you know, some of the people that I were in the unit with me, you know, they were on ventilators, they were on high oxygen rates. They were on a lot of stuff just so that they could breathe. Just so that they could breathe. I mean, think about that. Just so they could breathe. You can breathe through a mask. Even though you claim you can't, you can breathe through a mask. So please, guys, wear your mask. Social distance. And protect yourself as much as you can. Because I was doing all those things. I honestly don't know where I got it from. A lot of people are saying, a lot of healthcare workers are saying that you're going to get it at least once. A lot of healthcare workers that I did work with or took care of me said that they had it at least once. So you may get it. Cross your fingers. I hope you don't get it at all. But they're saying that you may get it at least once. But this thing is not. It's serious. It's serious. It is serious. Please note to that it is serious. My mom is a frontline worker. She sees a lot of the deaths that are caused by this virus on a daily basis. So she knows some of the things that it could do to your body. And some of the swelling, like I was swollen. Like it just does not do your body any good. So please be careful out there, guys. This was one of my more serious story times, but I just had to tell you guys what, you know, what happened to me, pretty much, because I am alive to tell the story, and I'm so thankful that I am alive to tell the story, and I'm here to do God's work, and this is part of God's work, and I told God that I couldn't do this if I was with Him, so help me get some subscribers, guys, and help me spread awareness to sickle cell anemia. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye, warrior babes.